We're going to call the meeting to order. So before we do anything, we're going to do a roll call.
Mr. Dakenkolb.
Here.
Mr. Spence.
Here.
Dr. Ross.
Here.
Administrator.
Present.
Mayor.
Here.
Solicitors absent, fiscal officers present. Mrs. Tamarin.
Here.
Mr. Mattern.
Here.
Mr. Merriman.
Here.
Okay, everyone stand for a moment of silence and pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Reading of the minutes. The approval of the minutes.
Motion to approve
Yeah.
the minutes from the last meeting?
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Dakenkolb.
Yay.
Mr. Spence.
No.
Dr. Ross.
Yay.
Mrs. Tamarin.
Yay.
Mr. Mattern.
Yay.
Mr. Merriman.
Yeah.
Okay. Any person out there want to appear before us, Mr. Lockhart? Do you have?
Anyone else?
Look like you're the only one at the moment.
Thank you, Mayor,
Yes.
Council. Bob Lockhart, your representative to the following agencies. Seven Ranges joint meeting we had on May the 12th. Did you give any kind of report to that last week?
I don't know if I did or not. It was in June.
That's all right. Well, it was a short meeting. It was just a matter of some approval of minutes and that. Rob Harrington gave a presentation of observation that he and some other fire departments accomplished when they were down at the site of the bridge being put in at Brilliant. Did a nice job with regard to that, and I think he's going to come up with a documentary type thing in the future, so it'll be available. As far as the fire district itself, Wintersville rather, the new training center that they're having completed is going along real well, and they're developing a charter with regard to that training facility, and it has to be completed in connection with the legal aspects of having that service and a training center for the benefit of the public and not the public, but the other fire departments. So he's got a charter being developed on that. With regard to BHJ, last meeting I went to was April 21. It was a combination of the overall what do you call it? Can't think of it. The actual joint, the committee itself, plus the other. I can't think of it offhand. I just got back in town 10 minutes ago. But I mean, it's just a full commission meeting, and they discussed several things and all that. And the main thing is then the discussion with regard to the bridge. And subsequent to that meeting, the bridge site was completed with regard to the installation of that new bridge. And it's amazing they did this thing in a matter of 12 hours. There was no hitch in the matter. And there was an article in the Herald Star by some young reporter by the name of Warren Scott that did a very good job. If you ever get a chance, I've got a copy of it. So he did a very nice job explaining everything about it for the benefit of the public. Down the road, there will be more of that bridge will be completed hopefully in about another year, about August 2022. So it's been a long process being developed, but finally getting here. Now, with regard to Steel Valley, that meeting I attended was April 20th. With regard to that meeting, the overall financial aspect since the virus situation developed it's been down slightly in revenue overall. Ridership overall was down 11.2, but all of the local communities, barring one, Wintersville, we had a 37.9 increase, and all the other communities had a decrease in ridership. Downtown, Mingo, Robinson, but that you can attribute that to the virus situation. Other than that, the progress is, I think, for the future is good. We're going to have in their future, EM, Medium, and Still Valley are going to present to the public at various locations the overall reevaluation of the line. You've seen the bus service now, you have different color-coded lines if you pay attention. And that, plus the apps will be updated. All of the aspects of the reorganization will be presented to the public in the near future. But overall, ridership is decent for us. It will improve. I think that will be a positive, of course, for the future once this gets going. But other than those considerations, there are a memo of understanding with Franciscan University and Weirton Transit is still in a pending status. There also is in the future with regard to an association with Steel Valley, Wheeling Transit System coming up to Rayland and Brilliant for us to start going down there because of the new bridge crossing down the road. That's being considered for the future, and that will benefit some people that want to go down maybe to the hospital in Wheeling or some other activity that's going on down in Wheeling. It'll be a bus service for that in the future. But there is a major concrete job that's being evaluated, and because of delay, because of underground piping system, and it is real old, and some of they had to spend several $1,000s to have it evaluated before they would consider putting in the new concrete slab. So that's been delayed there. Other than that, Steel Valley's doing well with regard to the service. They have a new young lady down there by the name of Heather Dock. She was hired. She has a tremendous background, a degree in accounting and that. She adapted to the new computer system that now, when we have a meeting, we get volumes of paperwork listing all of the aspect of financial, mechanical operation, and transit operations. All that is printed out, given to us as board members every meeting. So she's adapted well to present this information to us. Any questions?
To add to that, Mr. Lockhart, I appreciate your report, that you bring to us, giving us the updates on all this stuff. And I did go down this week and met with the new secretary, Heather, and Tim, the director. And on June 10th, here at this council chambers at 1:30, there's going to be an open meeting to the public so that they could come here, and they're going to talk about the new routes, the new stops, and the color-coded routes and everything.
Oh.
They're going to come here on that date.
Okay.
So I hope you make yourself available for that.
Oh, I'll be here, but I think it's changes and signage that you have
Right.
around the city, that's been changed. And that will be discussed with the people at the meetings and all the public meetings.
Just to expand on a couple things, Mayor Martin.
Yeah.
The SVRTA, that's great news. Did you bring forward to us with the increased ridership from village residents? On behalf of all council, I know several of us have worked really hard, and it's a real honor to support and provide such a good service to the village residents and to see them take advantage of it. So let's keep going with that. That's good news. The second thing is to expand on that Seven Ranges Fire District training meeting. The training center over there continues to develop and mature, and I'm sure Rob's going to give us an update on that here shortly. This is an excellent opportunity to train and certify firefighters and first responders to help strengthen our community and surrounding communities too. So as this thing matures over the next several months, we're going to really start rolling, and I bet Rob Harrington has made mention that he would like to come and do a presentation. And lastly, when Mr. Lockhart said he just came in from out of town, technically, the Polish Club from downtown is technically out of town. So it's we're good to go. That's all I have. Thanks, Bob. Keep up the good work.
All right, you're welcome. Anything else?
Thank you very much for the report. It says, matter. Okay, anybody else out there have anything to say? You want to talk? Okay. Well, it's nice to have you here tonight. Okay. Okay, next we'll have the reading of the ordinances.
Denise has one needs to be passed tonight.
Oh, okay, we've got to send down to the Jefferson County auditors the proposed budget for 2022. So we prepared a certificate of estimated resources.
So we need to suspend the rules on that?
Yes, if you could.
I'll put forth a motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Degenkolb?
Yay.
Mr. Spence?
Yay.
Dr. Ross?
Yay.
Mrs. Dameron?
Yay.
Mr. Mattern?
Yay.
Mr. Merriman?
Yeah.
It's on the ordinance we have tonight.
Well, she just has to say two more. Was it or just a resolution?
Well, that was just suspend the rules tonight.
Now you're gonna-
Yeah, she has to just.
Yeah, it's a certificate to the County Budget Commission for the January 1st, 2022 budget.
Motion
Okay,
to
that's
accept.
one now. Motion to accept.
Motion to accept.
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Degenkolb?
Yay.
Mr. Spence?
Yay.
Dr. Ross?
Yay.
Mrs. Dameron?
Yay.
Mr. Mattern?
Yay.
Mr. Merriman?
Yeah. Okay, good to go.
Okay. That's the only one we have tonight.
Two more times, right? You gotta read it two more times.
Oh,
What, I thought we had second and third.
He said second and third.
That was
Okay.
second.
yeah.
The one thing I will add with this, we just did this at the Seven Ranges Fire District 2, where our girl, you got to send in an update. You know, that's all it is. It's not a declaration of, the
they
strength or
don't-
weakness. It's just like an update of what the revenues are coming in and the adjustments.
Yeah, they used to require a formal budget.
Right.
But they don't even require that anymore. We just prepare their certificate of estimated resources. That's all they want now.
That's a yearly thing, correct?
Yeah, every June. It's like mid-June.
Okay, is that it?
Yep.
Okay, reports and communications. No.
The police and magistrates, so.
Okay. Okay, monthly mayor's court report received for the month, $9,214.50. It went to the state, $1,187, and other $89. On the back, current period, $10,490.50. Okay, police report for the month. 122 complaints, incoming calls 169, accidents 15, cases 12, alarm calls 8, juvenile calls 3, and traffic arrests 33. On the back, criminal cases, criminal arrests 13, parking violations 1, vehicles impound 1, out of town assist 4, stolen bikes, cars 0, dog bites 1, missing person 0, auxiliaries 24, K9 use 1, respected submitted Chief Art Fowler. Police Department report for monies collected from old fines, May 2021, $3,956. Money collected from old fines January through April 2021, a total of $9,338.50. Money collected for old fines January 16 to May 2021, $117,522. And I want to thank the chief for these here fines collected. You know, fines it was going not to be collected, but he collected, and I want to thank him very much for doing that. And Code Enforcement report from May 1st to May 31st, 2021, Code Enforcement report, 9 licenses, 19 permits, totaling $1,600. Okay. And now we're going to have the administrative report.
First item on your list, received an email from the Director of High Public Works that the village has been awarded funds for our system-wide meter project. We received a grant of $341,000 and a 0% loan of $535,000. I want to combine a couple things here. Number 5, last committee meeting, we had talked about preparing 2 ordinances to get this meter project along. Mr. Becker still has some questions on them, so hopefully we'll be bringing those forward at the July meeting for passage. Then last thing in regard to item on a meter project, I'd like to request permission to bid. We can't award any bids till after July 1st, as it said, until we get the project agreement signed and back in, and we probably won't be quite ready then yet, but if I get the specs done and everything in time, I want to get the advertising out. So I'd like request permission to advertise for bids.
So moves.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Dakenhope?
Yay.
Mr. Spence?
Yay.
Dr. Ross?
Yay.
Mrs. Dameron? Yay. Mr. Mattern?
Yay.
Mr. Merriman?
Yeah.
Second item, Phase 5 sanitary sewer update. The lift station materials are in. They're starting on Squirrel Hill first. There still is some restoration to be done, and they're hoping to wrap that up by the end of June, weather permitting. Spring cleanup will begin this Monday for the next 4 Mondays in June. So, the usual no tires, no paints, nothing like that, but asking the residents to put the things out in a neat pile, and village crews will be along to pick them up. Paving bids, we received 2 good bids for Winters Drive and Grandview. National Lime and Stone submitted the low bid by about $2,500, and I'd like to recommend council award the project to them so I can get a contract out and get that scheduled.
Who was that to National Line?
Yes.
Motion?
Second.
No, you make a motion.
Oh, I thought he did.
Yeah.
Bob did?
Yep.
I didn't hear.
Second.
You can get your mic.
Yeah,
Okay. All right, roll call. I didn't hear his mic.
Mr.
Too far away.
Dakenhope?
Yay.
Mr. Spence?
Yay.
Dr. Ross?
Yes.
Mrs. Dameron?
Yay.
Mr. Mattern?
Yay.
Mr. Merriman?
Final item, it's not on your list. We had talked about this earlier, about getting some flooring in the hall downstairs, in the utility office, and then also in the other offices downstairs. All the carpeting is over 20 years old and is getting worn and hooved up in spots. For the utility office, which is the worst, in the main hall, we have a quote from Creative Flooring and Carpeting by Meg here in Wintersville, $11,285. We have this in the building fund. And then for the other offices, we don't need to go ahead with those right now. It's $7,775. I would like authorization to go ahead with the utility office and the main hallway. There may be some other construction in the utility office. We need to replace that door on the weather side. It's on a warm day, you can't get in and unlock it. It sticks and it's rusting. So I want to get that done before the carpeting goes in. We have a contractor locally getting us a quote back to repair that door. And then we can get this flooring in also. It'll be a vinyl tile flooring, waterproof.
Yeah,
So not carton.
Not carpet.
Good,
No.
good.
Okay, motion to accept that creative carpeting not to exceed.
$11,285.
So moved.
Second. Roll call.
Mr. Dakenkopf?
Yeah.
Mr. Spence?
Yay.
Dr. Ross?
Yes.
Mrs. Dameron?
Yay.
Mr. Merriman?
Yay.
Mr. Mattery?
Yay.
Do you think I should talk about the security wall that we talked about? I will wait until we maybe get a little better estimate. Okay. We can talk about it at finance committee meeting, because we'll be ready for that too. Okay. So we're not gonna open that. Then we've got to get some security. Yeah, go ahead. Yes. Okay, well, probably don't have this on your sheet, but we're gonna talk about, just brief all the council on what's happening, out front here. Today, the governor lifted all the mandates, so that a lot of places are opening up. But we're working on getting some prices right there. Entrance, when you come in, the main doors up there, we're gonna put a security wall there, so because the building's not where it should be, but we want to be able to bring it up to code and put a security wall there. So we're not going to open up the water department until once we get the prices and that happens, because, we want to prevent anything from happening in the future. And we'll go into a committee meeting. Finance Chair, can you call a meeting so we can, go over some numbers on this and update the council on what we're going to do, so they can understand better. I don't want to put a lot of security stuff out on the air, so we'll talk about it later, okay? All right.
Hey, Walt, on those two,
Yes.
on that bid for National Limestone, that was for both Grandview
And Winters Drive.
and Winters Drive?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, any unfinished business?
I do have a question for
Yes,
the administration. At one point, it was mentioned that we may need a water and sewer meeting called to discuss public meeting announcements for the meter project. Is that going to be needed in June or July?
It will be July.
Okay.
When we get a little better handle of timeline, yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. No more unfinished business? Okay, new business?
Just for
Right.
Walt, on the spring cleanup, I know there's a list out there. Would you email me a copy of it?
Of
If you-
the
not-
non-permitted
Yeah,
items,
non-permitted
yes.
items, and I'd like to get it maybe to Keith.
Sure.
To put out there. Is that all right, Keith? Thank you.
One of the other things that also, we do have an ordinance that limits the quantity poundage or whatever. Could you refresh us on that?
It is a dump truck load to prevent, I hate to say, people from having relatives bring stuff in. So if they have a full dump truck load, I want to say they are charged $200 plus a tonnage fee, which I believe is $65 a ton or
If-
dump.
If you could, when you're getting that for Mr. Degenkopf, if you can get that to him too, just to clarify those terms and make sure that's out there as well. We created that ordinance several years ago for, listen, 95% to 99% of the village is very thankful and appreciative and do things the right way. However, there was some abuses that was conducted with the bulk trash pickup that we had to eliminate and put that ordinance in effect. And really, it still only affects like a small percent, so.
A handful or
Yeah, a
less,
handful.
yes.
So, it's a service that we like to continue, and, it's one of the restrictions we had to put in place. Keep up the good work with that, Walt.
No,
Are construction materials one of the things that you don't sell?
Correct. And no commercial. This is just residential pickup only.
now is a resident who has an excessive amount to be thrown away, are they told
They
first?
are told when, because we see it piled out there.
And
So-
so
Which
that-
is, it's kind of too
okay.
late then for them, but, they
know
always
what
have
they're
the
gonna put
option
out.
to hire a roll-off box themselves to come in and have
That
it
way they don't
hauled
get the
away.
bill unexpectedly.
Correct.
Okay, good.
Right. Okay, before we go into new business, I got a couple things, and some people I want to thank. Yesterday, they had a really nice first Wednesday. Joel and Mary up there at Wine Center, they did a good job putting that together in coordination with the village. And I want to thank Officer Jason. He was on duty last night with his crew. They did an excellent job. And I want to thank you, Jason, for that, because, without them guys doing their job as well as they did it last night, that would not exist, because we went through a lot of stuff to make this happen with the insurance company. and working with the chief of police, when trying to, how are we going to do this without having anybody get hit or anybody fall down out of here on our premises, so everything went very well. And I just want to thank them guys, personally, the police department, because without them, this wouldn't have went as well as it went, along with all the other people that was involved in this. I want to thank that. And then I want to do another thank you to Economy Lawn Care, because Mike Petrella, he came here and changed the whole outlook of what the front looks like, and the trees coming down through there. They beautified this place, made it look really good, and I appreciate that, Mike, wherever you might be at tonight in your company, for donating the material and the time that you put out there. I really appreciate that. And one other thing, I want to remind council tomorrow for Bob Gale. It's another recognition tomorrow, so everybody know the place and time for that. So I won't make that announcement. So I'll have 1,000 people. I'll let you know afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to thank him, and then also I want to thank our administrator for getting that parking lot looking like a parking lot and look really great, because 2 weeks ago, I didn't think he was going to pull it off, but he pulled it off, and it looks great out there, and I love it. So, we wanted some other things happening here, and our place looked really great yesterday, and I just want to thank him for making that happen. So that's all I have, and for my report, I want to do any new business, starting with Mr. Degenkolb.
I'm going to piggyback off of Mayor Martin on the wonderful turnout last night, and a kudos to Joel John and Mary Decker for what started with one idea, and it just picked up steam. So it was so cool to see so many people out. Police department did a great job. Thank you, the two officers there. That was perfect. I was kind of walking up and down the street. People were safe. They were having a really good time. And next month, the farmers market will be over there. So everything's going to run from the sheet that I had. It's every first Wednesday through October for now. So thank you for that. Also, Walt, great job getting the grants on the water meter project, and that's been a work in progress for some time. Landscaping does look good out front as well. And I believe that's all I have, so thank you all.
Just back on that, every Wednesday it will be a farmer's market, but every first Wednesday.
First Wednesday is the event, yes.
The event.
Yes.
Okay, so I appreciate that report. Mr. Spence.
Again, just like to thank everybody who participated in the event, and most of all, for everybody for showing up.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's glad to have you back, Randy. I know you missed a couple meetings and you was under the weather, and appreciate you being back here and participate.
Thank you.
Doc?
No new business.
Well,
Nothing.
Ms. Denise?
Yes, I have a transfer I had done, and I need approval. I took it from the general fund, $5,369, and I put it into the CARES Act fund because the police got a grant, a CARES Act grant.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had to put the money into the fund until we get refunded for the grant.
Okay.
Reimbursable.
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 Motion to approve that transfer.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Degenkolb?
Yay.
Mr. Spence?
Yay.
Dr. Ross?
Yay.
Mrs. Dameron?
Yay.
Mr. Mattern?
Yay.
Mr. Merriman?
Motion to pay the bills? I forgot about you three. I did that purposely. I know Matter's report that's going to probably take another hour.
That side doesn't matter over there.
I didn't want to look that way.
This is almost a perfect council just until then.
Yeah,
It was
so we
going
just
so
want to go
smooth.
this way. I know this is going to be short over here. Get ready to put your slippers on tonight. But anyway, Gail, anything from you?
Yeah, a couple things. Again, I've been receiving great feedback on the Wednesdays in Wintersville. I got the opportunity to participate myself. My daughter had a booth set up. I got to see how it was all put together and working. I talked to Mary and Joel afterwards, and we discussed a couple of, things that could have been done better, learning experiences. We had talked about the location of the crossover. They liked having both police cars set where they were set, but in agreement, they were thinking too that it might be better just one spot. You can only cross here, period. You know, might save a little bit going down the road. Definitely
What's the comment on that? Yeah, and I talked to Joe about that, and I told him, I said, listen, that will go into discussion with the chief and the insurance company, and I invited him and Mary to be in on that discussion. So if everything works out, you know, so that we can continue to do that without any kind of conflicts, I really, and Jason, can you expand on that? Because you had mentioned to me why you thought we should be only one spot.
Initially, there was a traffic backup because of the zones were offset, and as traffic stopped, the second zone was stopped, and then the traffic would start moving and have to stop again. So that it created a little bit of a traffic problem, as well as visibility. People wouldn't normally think they'd have to stop, move up a couple feet, and stop again. And I saw some different kind of traffic. So I thought maybe one crossing zone might be better off.
Okay. Okay. Okay, and that's what I spoke to Joe. I said, when it comes to the security and the safety of the village, it's going to be the chief and his officers, and our insurance company will talk about that so that we don't be liable for somebody to get hit out there. I said, somebody get hit and killed, yeah, that comes back to us. And I says, we don't want to take on that responsibility. And I gave him the option, if they want to take on all that responsibility, we'll make that a discussion too. So I couldn't give him a solid answer, and I won't give him a solid answer until I meet Chris Becker, the chief, and insurance company, and make sure that we could continue doing what we're doing. I know it seems nice and very comfortable to them, but we have to make it so that it's going to be benefit to everybody, so that this village, which I'm concerned about, don't have to pick up the tab for somebody's death or somebody's injury. Okay? Thank you. That's all, Ms. You got something else? Okay.
In reference to the officers, when I had made the call to the chief about officers and providing the service and being in the village for an event, he had quoted some prices, et cetera, and I said, well, what about the auxiliary officers? And he said, well, they have to do 16 hours, and there's only a couple of them, and of course, taking nothing away from the officers, because thanking the individuals who put forth the money to pay for the part-time officers, and the fact that Officer Fabian was on overtime for what he did into the evening. Just kind of want to check into the fact that Mike Petrella had put forth money for one of the part-time officers, and I believe Joel and Mary may have paid for the other one.
No, that's not true. Let me give you a little clarification on that.
Okay.
Mr. Petrella came to the meeting, and he suggested he would pick up the tab for one of the officers, but we picked the tab up for everybody. Mike Petrella and Joel didn't pick up the tab for this. So the village, for a safety thing, I made a decision along with the chief, say this is our contribution to this thing happening. So we won't be collecting a check from Mr. Petrella, and we won't be collecting one from Joel. If it's something different they want other than the two officers, then we'll have to pick that up.
Okay. That's good to know. That's excellent. The only other thing I had was you and I had discussed beautification committee. And I have a slate of about 4 or 5 Wintersville citizens put together. We're going to probably meet, and it does include actually Mary and Joel as well, and we're going to meet at the winery as soon as we can kind of get together as far as a day and a time, to actually brainstorm some ideas that we can possibly put together for you to present to you. For what we want to do, where we could possibly be at on a budget, who we can get to, participate or do what we want to do, et cetera. Okay. So I should have that for you here another week or so.
Gail, I'd be happy to join you on that.
Thank you.
If you wanted an extra hand.
Absolutely.
I had a couple ideas bouncing around.
I'm just trying to get
here.
people from different, like I've discovered a lot of, just in talking, the ideas that each person has and the way that it can be accomplished. Like I know somebody, a young talent who could do the signs for us if we wanted to put signs. Somebody mentioned,
Excuse me, what kind of signs?
welcome to Wintersville.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
We talked about, somebody else mentioned about, we talked about planting flowers or whatever. 4-H kids need projects to do in the summertime. They're allowed to do things, to even do the planting or come in and maintain it, weed pulling, et cetera, from time to time. So, just different people, or people from different walks of life just contributing would be great, so. That's what I'm looking for.
And I appreciate your enthusiasm about moving that forward, Councilman Gale. And just to say, if we can make that first project, coming into main entrance of Wintersville, that hill of weeds there that they think is flowers, we want to just, if we have to get that lifted out of there and redo that, make it look nice there. That's where I'd rather, if you're going to start
That's
there
where,
first.
yeah, where we're starting at that entrance and working our way down, like I said, with various and sundry, ideas, but we're definitely going to be
Okay,
brainstorming.
and make sure like you said, bring them forth
Yep.
to us so I can let council see that, so they can improve what your guys are going to be doing.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Maturin.
Listen, just to start off, really sounds like it was a great event on Wednesday and got some nice momentum going. Really appreciate the effort of the Deckers of trying to, make our community better and brighter. And we shone really well, despite a gray overcast, on Wednesday night. And it's nice to see them provide the opportunity for us to show what we can absolutely do here. With any event, there's some kind of learning curve involved, and I'm sure we had some discussion today. But without a doubt, the number one priority that we have and responsibility we have is to provide security and safety. And working with Mr. Fabian and Art and with the Deckers and everybody involved, that's ultimately the goal, is to provide an excellent opportunity to prove ourselves, to shine, and do it safely. So keep up the good work. It's greatly appreciated. We did have an ordinance committee last week and rehashed a few things today. The Solicitor Becker was unable to attend because of some prosecuting duties he had in Youngstown area, so we do have some carryover. One of the things that we do have that I'm pretty confident we're going to move forward at the very next meeting would be the physical exams. We're going to remove that from the police department thing requirement. All the police officers are required to have initial physicals when hired by the state. By removing this requirement, we are still eligible for the certification. Art and Jason, whoever else, can expand upon that at the next meeting on that, but we're going to move forward with that. The clothing allowance, the police officers are currently getting $500. The ordinance just needs updated. It's a clerical. It says they only getting $250. And 2-hour parking on Walnut Street. We're just going to have parking on the east side. So we're probably going to move forward with those, and we'll have something to review. Also to review that we're probably not going to be able to move on it because it's a little bit more in depth. How are we going to the flagging situation on Main Street, Caddis Road, Canton Road, Fernwood? We definitely want to hear to see something tangible before we can comment on it. But we have to see. We agree with the concept, but we have to see something tangible to see what we want to tweak on that. So we really need that from Chris Becker as well. And also there was one on parking of boats, campers, recreational vehicles. They have to be licensed and updated, there's no doubt. We want to include dumpsters, but we definitely want to have that to review. We may not have that to approve at the next meeting, but maybe in August, if we get the chance to review that, we'll move forward with those. Perhaps a road classification update as to would be a discussion. Also from the ordinance committee, we discussed the grass ordinance a little bit this time around, and we'll go over that with Chris as well. Walt discussed with it a little bit at this point this afternoon as well. We do have a grass ordinance, and it seems to be working. The administration has promised to give us an update of what court orders are out there or issuance into court. We pretty much have a 10-day, once you get cited, you got 10 days to fix it, and we'll work with you for them 10 days. They've done it in the past. But if it goes over the 10 days, we expect it to be progress to be made in 10 days, if not totally addressed. And we're going to stick the administration to those guns because we don't want to have issues moving forward. But we're going to be kept aware of what courts, who's being called into court, if they're repeat offenders. So we'll be reviewing this on a continual basis this summer.
Okay, a question for you before we move on.
Uh-huh.
On the repeat offenders, what is being done to deter them from doing it again? Just a fine, and that's it?
That's what we have so far in the ordinance.
Yeah, they go
And-
to court. That's what they do. They go, they get, the ordinance says you get one chance a year. You don't get the second time, you go straight to court. If we have to come back to a repeat offender, they go, they get fined, they pay court costs. So that, the deterrent is that. So if they like paying fines and getting charged court costs, then so be it.
Because we're starting to see the repeaters coming around.
Well, if they do, they'll be in court.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's where we're at with the grass ordinance. I'm sure we'll get in that in further detail, but we do have an ordinance in place, and we do expect compliance within 10 days, or else you get drawn into court. Repeat offenders will be addressed on a more severe basis, and that 10-day is going to be quicker than that, I'm sure.
It's only one 10-day.
Only
The
one
second
10-day.
one
The
is
first
straight to
one.
court.
Straight to court.
Yeah.
The also, I attended a Jefferson County Regional Planning meeting about 2 months ago, and the prosecuting attorney, assistant prosecuting attorney, Frank Brazige was there and put on an excellent presentation. It was a refresher because he did it about 3 or 4 years ago on how to handle blight, junk in yards, et cetera, like that. Okay, and basically what Frank did is he said there's 3 things that's required. One of them is a qualified officer. The second thing is proper documentation, and the third thing is a lawyer. So we do have a process, and he did a whole guideline. Okay, this is what you do, this is what you got to do. And he broke it down in very simplistic terms, but that's what we need. If there are instances of blight within the community, we expect to work with the county commissioners and proceed through this way. We just won't tolerate that at all. And I do know that Mr. Martin and I, myself, have talked to Commissioner Morelli, and we're probably going to drive around with Tony one day and just take a look at a few facilities a few areas that may fall under this area that may be addressed by that. So we're moving forward on any blight kind of situation. The last thing I really had is just a general statement coming from the Finance Department and from Walt during the Ordinance Committee is the general fund strength is very good. The general fund is strong as it's ever has been. Walt briefly touched upon how the water, the sanitation, those divisions of the finance are very sound and strong. We did take a little hit in the sanitation, but that's expected because when you start up the spring chlorination, there's initial outlays for chemicals, and we did some repairs and upgrades down there to our UV lighting for the chlorinization.
Correction,
So-
Jason. Not sanitation, sewer.
Sewer, and starts with an S. But that's the point. We're in very solid financial situation at this point with all of our funds. We will have a finance meeting, a semi-annual one, and Bob's probably going to share some notes on that. That's all I got at this time.
Thank you very much. Mr. Matt Marion. He just got confused. The hair kind of.
No, there, throws them on.
Just brought the family out last night to Wednesday in Wintersville, and thought it was a great success for the first one, and hope many more, and can't wait till the next one.
Okay, thank you. You want to mention anything on?
Finance meeting, we'll get a date and get ahold of everybody on the finance meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
No.
Yes, sir.
One real quick thing. I got a thank you note. It says it's nice. It's so nice to be. It's so nice. So nice to be nice. Your kindness will forever be remembered. 2021. To the members of the great village of Wintersville, my family and I would like to thank you all from the bottom of our hearts, for your kindness. The meat and cheese tray was beautiful and delicious. The Heinz, the Burketts, and the Harvey family. They wanted to, send us thanks for what we did. Okay, that's all, and next, pay the bills. Motion.
Motion to pay the bills?
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Dakenkolb?
Yay.
Mr. Spence?
Yay.
Dr. Ross?
Yay.
Mrs. Dameron?
Yay.
Mr. Mattern?
Yay.
Mr. Merriman?
Yay.
Okay, next meeting adjourned till next meeting to be announced, okay? July 1st.
Motion to adjourn?
So
Second.
moved. Second. Yeah, whatever.
Roll call.
Mr. Dakenkolb?
Yay.
Mr. Spence?
Yay.
Dr. Ross?
Yay.
Mrs. Dameron?
Yay.
Mr. Mattern?
Yay.
Mr. Merriman?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay.